de una persona con conocimientos.
Con conocimiento y con experiencia como nuestro abogado John Mitchell. Pues John, queremos agradecerte por habernos acompañado el día de hoy. Nosotros vamos cerrando. Recuerden que si usted tiene temas puntuales sobre sus compañías, cómo abrir compañías, cómo cerrar compañías, cómo solucionar problemas con el IRS, aquí está nuestro abogado John Mitchell, que él les va a dar toda la información, les va a echar la mano y les va a ayudar a solucionar los problemas que ustedes tienen en sus compañías. Yo soy Gustavo Soto, me voy despidiendo por el día de hoy y por supuesto queremos agradecerles por habernos acompañado una vez más desde aquí, desde Houston, desde la ciudad espacial, en Now Media Televisión, la primera cadena bilingüe de los Estados Unidos. No olviden, por favor, seguirnos en todas nuestras redes sociales, plataformas digitales. Compartan este contenido para que llegue a más personas. Un abrazo y bendiciones.
This has been a Now Media Networks feature presentation. All rights reserved.
Broadcasting live from Houston, from the space city to the world. You are watching Now Media Television.
Welcome to Power CEOs, the truth behind the business. I'm Jen Gaudet, your fearless host, entrepreneur, investor, and business strategist. Why are we here? Because I believe that iron sharpens iron. And when we bring successful entrepreneurs and investors here to talk about what works in business and maybe even some of what doesn't, we all learn and grow. As a result, our businesses grow and the ripple effect impacts not only ourselves, our families, and our communities, but also the world. I'm really excited about our expert guest today. I have Jared Yellen here. He is a serial entrepreneur. He is moving and shaking in the investor space, and he is truly an industry disruptor. So I'm really excited for you to hear from him today. I know you've asked, how do I pitch to investors? How do I get capital? Or maybe you're an investor watching and you're looking for, how do I find the right business to partner with in order to maximize my investment? He is here to answer those questions. I have heard you. I have gotten him here on the show. Jared, welcome to the studio. I'm really excited to have you here.
Oh, I'm so honored, Jen. Your energy is magnetic. Let's rock and roll. I'm excited to share anything you want with this wonderful audience.
Great, because I'm an open book and I love sharing the stuff that nobody sees on Instagram. So let's dive into it. Serial entrepreneur. So many people say that they've done this, but the reality is not many have done it successfully. So talk to me a little bit about how you got started. What is the entrepreneur path for you, and how did you get on the trajectory with what you're doing now?
So for me, it's interesting where I started because I remember it like it was yesterday. I'm 20 years old and I start thinking to myself, eventually I'm going to become a dad. Now, most 20-year-old young men are probably not thinking about becoming a father unless they're about to become a father. But the reason I was is I started to reflect on my childhood. And my parents went through an extremely intense divorce when I was very young. I'm sure there was worse divorces than theirs, but it was pretty grueling. And if somebody were to say to me, what is one word to define your childhood, I would have said loud. There was just nowhere for me to go for peace or serenity. So I'm 20 years old and I'm thinking to myself, eventually I'm going to become a dad. What does that mean? And for the first time, Jen, this word showed up for me. And the word was freedom. I don't ever remember even thinking about that word. I get goosebumps saying it today, but I started to dig into what does freedom even mean? And there was 13 categories of freedom that came to me, from my health to my career to my finances. So I started to define each category, and I was typing ferociously on my little laptop at the time. About an hour later, I had 45 pages of copy written where I defined each of these categories, and then I started reading what I produced. And what I realized in that moment, Jen, is that there's no one that I know that has what's on that piece of paper. And if I'm going to want what no one that I know has, I'd be willing to do what no one that I know has done. I fully immersed myself into entrepreneurship. Fast forward to 7 years ago, my first child, Taylor, was born. And at that point, I had the freedom that I committed to. Entrepreneurship has been my path to create freedom for myself, my family, our team, and now all of our co-founders inside of our exciting project as well.
Well, you said something, and I really want to focus and highlight on it because you defined what success was. You defined it as freedom. And so you fully defined it for yourself. And it's something that we talk about in the show a lot. It's what are you shooting for? What is your version of success? And if we don't know where we're going, then how the heck do we know when we get there? And so I love that you did that. You defined what freedom was to you. And then you said you did what everyone else wasn't willing to do. You did what it took in order to get there. And I think it's those two key elements that I want everybody who's listening, like write them down, know where you're going, define what success is for you, what does it mean, and how do you know you've achieved it, and then do whatever it takes. Be willing to do and put in the work. I think that was so incredibly important, and thank you for sharing that. So Jared, like fast forward, now you're a dad, you have a son, you have the freedom that you had set out to achieve, and now what you're doing today is even more disruptive than anything else in the industry. Tell me a little bit about how that has evolved.
Yes, I actually have 3 kiddos now, a 7-year-old, a 5-year-old, and a 1-year-old. That is my single greatest accomplishment. What I set out to do today is the direct result of a life experience I had, which happened to have been the darkest moment in my life, personally or professionally. I'm a non-tech founder. What that means is there's not an engineering bone in my body. I know how to write marketing copy, and I really know how to sell. And I had a vision for a marketing SaaS, software as a service, that I wanted to bring to the small business community a number of years ago. And I ended up hiring a software development firm that specialized in MarTech. And they said to me, it's going to take 10 months and $750,000 to build the first version of your vision. And my challenge at that time, Jen, is I was relatively young and I was very well capitalized. I already had an exit at that point. I was running a very lucrative marketing agency. I didn't even know what fundraising was. So I'm like, I'm just going to self-fund it. So I did. And the 10 months and 750 turned into over 2 years and over $2 million. And then at the point of launching, it imploded.
Oh, no.
Imploded. My entire dream came crashing down. I remember when this happened, I did this exercise where I said there's a universal law that exists. And what the universal law states is that whenever you lose anything in life, you will always gain more than you lose. You just have to stop focusing on the loss and literally shift your attention to what you gained. And what I gained in that moment became the catalyst for the rest of my career, which was the awareness and the understanding that you just can't outsource software development at that stage. You have to build your own dedicated team of engineers. I became fanatically focused on that. I hired a great CTO that knew how to build both domestic and international teams, and we started recruiting. Because of that decision, that is now an entity today called Synduit. We've scaled this company significantly, but it really became the catalyst for what I stand for. And what I stand for today is to eliminate pain and suffering in early stage tech. And we've launched a company called Project 10K, which is a venture ecosystem where we co-found tech companies with entrepreneurs that are at the idea stage who are extremely relevant, or we acquire software companies from engineers that have taken their vision as far as they can and they want to, and they want some liquidity. And then we take the most important responsibility, which is to build these companies. We have engineers, we have marketers, we have back office operators that are taking the responsibility to bring these products to market, validate them in the market, generate cash flow, pay out dividends to our shareholders, and then go on a journey for an exit.
And so I want to highlight what you just said a little bit, because people who are I'm an investor and I'm accustomed to private equity, and there's venture capital and all. What you're doing is not just offering the capital, you're also offering the vehicle to hit these companies into their next growth phase, or to really launch. It's an accelerator for all intents and purposes. So how did your experience and that dark moment shift and frame what it is that you're doing for these tech founders today?
So when this happened, I remember thinking to myself, most won't even experience what I just experienced because I was blessed enough to have the resources and be resourceful enough to even get to that point. So most people are going to die with their greatest song inside. Others are going to try to pursue it, and they're going to end up in what I call the Bermuda Triangle of entrepreneurship, which is where most people like me, non-tech tech founders, reside. And I was committed to creating a safe path for people to realize their dreams. In addition to that, and I'll call my shot on the show, and I did this actually about 3 years ago when we launched this project, I made a bold statement. The bold statement is this: singles and doubles are the new unicorn. It's really important that you hear this. Singles and doubles are the new unicorn. Running capital efficient SaaS companies that do not require venture capital to become viable. The reason this matters is Silicon Valley Bank imploded. And it imploded because too many organizations are chasing unicorns. And every time you chase a unicorn, you are overlooking 1,000 singles and doubles. And when you add together these singles and doubles, they're worth more than the unicorn with less capital and less risk and significantly greater upside. That's what we stand to prove, and we already have the data to support it.
And, you know, we are going to have to take a brief break in just a moment. So to kind of encapsulate what you just said, so many people also, when they're entrepreneurs, they think about, well, I'm going to have $1 billion exit, and they haven't even launched yet. And it's great to have that goal and vision, but really what you need to do is you need to get it right small. Because if you don't have it right small in its first iteration at the basic unit level of economics structure, then scaling something that's not profitable, it means you're scaling that big fat zero and you're getting a whole lot of nothing or a lot of negative. And so what you said was so incredibly important, whether you're thinking about it from the investor standpoint or from the entrepreneur standpoint, because the reality is it's got to be right small. And when we take those small, those base hits, like you said, you know, a bunch of base hits equals a whole heck of a lot of runs. So I wanted to just kind of summarize that, because it's so incredibly important that you get it right. You look for what is going to be profitable at the small phase, and that's your foundation to growth. I really love that you said that. And so we are going to take a very brief break, but we will be right back after these messages.
Are you nearly maxed out on your credit cards? It doesn't matter if you're using your credit cards for fun or to survive. At the end of the month, your statements come in, and you can either pay them or you can't. If you can't, late fees and interest rates get tacked on. And now you're struggling just to make the minimum payment due. Do you feel trapped? Am I talking to you? Good, because I personally researched some companies that can help you. They may be able to reduce your credit card balances by 50% and stop the late fees. If you qualify, please call our special debt hotline number right now for a complimentary free 5-minute consultation. Deal with your credit card problem now before it gets much worse and put more money back in your pocket. Trust me, I've been there too. Call right now.
Call 855-993-2096 right now. That's 855-993-2096.
What if this happened to you when you're alone? Or what if it happened here? With MedGuard Alert, you're never alone. You can connect with medical professionals anywhere, anytime. And now MedGuard is introducing our exclusive new Care Watch. If you need help quickly, use it from anywhere to contact medical professionals. No cell phone required. The Care Watch is not only a life-saving medical alert device, it's a revolutionary health monitoring system that checks your blood pressure, heart rate, oxygen saturation, and much more. And here's the best part. If you have Medicaid, you may qualify to get your Care Watch for free. The Care Watch is only available through MedGuard Alert. Call us right now. We have monitoring programs starting as low as $1 a day. The call is free, activation is free, shipping is free, and no contract is required. Remember, with Medicaid, you may qualify to get your Care Watch for free. Don't wait. Call us to get your Care Watch right now. Operators are standing by.
Hi, my name is Michelle Merhar. You may remember me from the morning news. I'd like to tell you how getting data and documents into action fast gives you a competitive edge. Digital-first thinking to manage document workflows efficiently are giving all organizations a competitive edge. In fact, digital document automation is an essential process, helping us to become more profitable and to compete. By making any process paperless with secure automation, decisions can be made efficiently, virtually from anywhere. You'll be able to find and share documents securely in seconds. Your staff will be empowered by making optimal use of every office hour. And by the way, the size of your organization doesn't matter. Precision Products has been helping organizations for more than 30 years with paper to digital processes, including scanning systems for any document to premises and cloud document management systems. We make it easy and scalable for your business process needs from the office or other locations, even mobile devices. Contact us to see how we can help your organization succeed. Contact Will Waterall direct at 713-446-5939 and visit us on the web at precisionproductsinc.com.
Attention timeshare owners. This is an urgent consumer alert from the Timeshare Exit Hotline, a national company specializing in helping consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
Do you have a car sitting around you want to get rid of? Well, here's a great idea. Donate your car now to help local veterans in your area. Yes, just make one fast call to the Veteran Car Donation Program. Within a few days, we'll come and remove your car for free. You can donate any car in any condition. We'll use our vast network to sell it. The proceeds raised go to help local veterans and their families. And you get a tax deduction. And all you need to do is make this free call. Clean your yard up, get rid of an old car, and help the vets. We make it easy. Make this free call now. Book your fast and easy pickup. Call the Veteran Car Donation Program now.
Welcome back to Power CEOs, the truth behind the business. I am here with Jared Yellen. We are talking about, we left right before the break talking about get those base hits. We're looking for those singles and doubles. They're the next unicorn. I love that analogy because, you know, fundamentally, if the fundamentals of your business are not strong, if you're not profitable when it's small, you're definitely not going to be profitable by throwing oodles and oodles of money at it. So I really want to dive into this because several people reach out to me every single week who watch the show. And they're always saying things such as, hey, I've got a product, I've got a nice profit margin, I've grown it as much as I can, I don't know where to go next, or I don't have the money to get to where it's, I either lack the money or the knowledge to take it to the next level. And that's a very frequent thing that comes in my inbox. So talk to me a little bit about the companies that come to you, the tech companies that come to you. How have you learned to support that or brought together the resources to support and answer that question?
There's a critical first step. Here's the key. You need data to support your thesis. So where everything that exists today began is right here, Jeff, on a piece of paper, on a napkin. There is no company that bypassed that step. But when you're at that early stage, you need data to support your thesis. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to go on Upwork and you're going to hire someone to create a clickable prototype of your vision. This is going to force you to refine it into an actual solution. It should cost you between $500 and $1,000. So if you believe in it enough, spend the $500 to $1,000 on Upwork and get a clickable prototype of your vision. From there, identify your ICP, your ideal customer profile. Who do you believe is going to pay for this solution? Once you identify your ideal customer profile, you need to do outbound effort to schedule sales meetings with this person. Now, you might say, what am I selling them? You're not selling them anything. You're going to do a sales demo of your clickable prototype with at least 100 qualified buyers, at least 100 qualified end users. At the end of the sales demo, you're not asking for their credit card. You're asking them to complete a very comprehensive survey that's going to give you data. And you don't want to skew the data. You want accurate data. It's better to find out then that you have a zero than to spend the next 6, 12, 18 months, 24 months and money to then find out you have a zero. Have people go through this survey. The two most important things that you're going to collect are, is this the right solution to the problem and will you pay for it? This is step one before you pitch anyone for capital. You need data to support your thesis. This is called discipline in early stage entrepreneurship.
Yeah, and you know, like that, you're passing the credit card test in the beginning. Like this is a critical mistake that many entrepreneurs make. They think there's a problem. They develop a solution, but it's not a problem that people are willing to actually pull out their credit card for. Because what they've done is they haven't gone to what you said is qualified buyers, which I want you to dive into that a little bit deeper. for our audiences. But, you know, they go to their friends and family, and of course, what if they say, yes, this is a great idea, of course I would pay for it, and then they develop the product, and when it comes time to collect, there's crickets. So I love that you passed the credit card test first with qualified buyers, but for our viewers and listeners who may be a little bit new to business, maybe they've never been in entrepreneurship, they've just got that idea on a napkin, what is a qualified buyer? How do they find that qualified buyer?
Yeah, so you got to get really deep into who did you build this solution for. So I'll give a really good example. One of our tech products that actually did not have an audience that was accessible, addressable, or was willing to pay for a solution was a platform for the dental profession. And what this platform did was it helped dentists reschedule missed appointments, because the number one expense in a dental practice is a missed appointment that doesn't get rescheduled. So we had this thesis, which was we can leverage AI, text outbound messaging to reschedule people that are canceling last minute and put them into the next slot, take people off a wait list and have them go into an open spot that just became available. But we wanted to see, would a dental office use a platform of this nature? Clickable prototype. The co-founder of this company with us went out and did 100 sales demos with various types of dental practices, multi-clinician, one clinician, where there's an office manager, where there's multiple offices, to try to define who is the ideal customer profile. As a result of that exercise, we had over 100 people go through the demo process, fill out the survey, and what we learned is they weren't going to use this solution in the form that it was currently built for the purpose of the prototype. Do you know how heroic that is that we learned it at that stage? Because what most entrepreneurs would do is they would spend the next 12 months, 24 months, 36 months, where half that time is trying to raise a few $100,000 from their friends and family. They finally get it. They hire a software development firm that doesn't share their values. They pour all the money into building a minimum viable product. They then launch it to crickets. It produces nothing, and they just ended up in, like I said before, the Bermuda Triangle of tech. And I don't want to see that happen for you. Have the discipline, get a prototype done, identify your ideal customer profile who's willing to pay for a solution like this, and get the solution in front of them so that you can collect data.
You know, I love that you brought that. That was an excellent example. It happens all the time. It doesn't even just happen in tech. It happens in every industry. Services, products, doesn't matter. And I want to ask you the next question, because this is something else that you said, and I don't want people to have missed it. You spend your initial investment. It comes from you. If you're not willing to invest in your idea to get that clickable, that 1,000, 5,000 clickable product in this example that Jared was talking about, then how can you expect investors to invest in you? Because as an investor myself, one of the first questions that I ask, whether it's real estate, whether it's business, whatever it looks like that somebody's looking for money, I always ask, how much of your own money have you put in? And so I wanted to also highlight that, because a lot of times people ask that question and they're like, well, I shouldn't have to put any money in, I'm doing the work. Well, but if you're not willing to put money into yourself, why do you expect other people to do that? And so can you kind of speak to the psychology of that? Because I know you've been through this. I know you were great at raising capital, and I know that you also self-capitalize a lot of the things that you do as well. So speak a little to that, and how do you overcome that hurdle? Because it's a mindset hurdle for a lot of people. It's not that they don't have the money. It's that they don't want to put their own money in because they're looking for their new product to generate money for them. And they haven't closed that gap. So can you kind of speak to that just a little bit?
Yeah, at the bare minimum, you need to validate your idea with your own capital, because no one's going to give you capital to validate a concept. So it's critical. And you'll need to put a lot of money in. You could actually put in significantly more time than money if money's short for you. But you're going to put in the $500, $1,000, $5,000 to get a clickable prototype. That's your capital. And it's important that it's your capital, because you need something to lose in this. You need to care enough about this that you have something to lose. Put your capital in so that you can collect enough data so that when you are sitting down with someone like Jen or myself or anyone else that invests in early stage tech companies or any company that you're going to launch, that you can show them, this is what people are saying they want. This is what we're going to build. This is how we're going to get to the market. These are the strategic relationships that we've already uncovered as a result of our prototyping process. So you're reducing risk, because that's the key. No investor wants to feel like they're bearing the majority of the risk. So if you have no economic skin in the game, you have no time skin in the game, you have no data, that means the investor's bearing 100% of the risk, and they're never going to write the check. And if they do write the check, that's the kind of money that's going to get you in trouble because they don't even know what they're investing in the first place. You have to bear more risk than the investor because you've already put in more effort and money and resources and blood and sweat and tears so that you're going to them with a plan, a practical path forward to execute on whatever you've committed to doing.
Absolutely. And I'm going to ask something because, I mean, we're both investors, we're both entrepreneurs, so we've sat on both sides of the equation probably multiple times in both cases. Yeah. and I think we're pretty aligned in this, but I just want to hear it and have you put this into perspective for people. And that's as an investor, the investor side of you. When somebody pitches you, what are the first, like, how important is that first hook? How important is the first, 10 seconds of what they say or the first visual? Like, how important is that to you when somebody's sitting down to pitch you, that they catch your attention and that they immediately get into like what's in it for the investor versus telling a story?
Yeah, so I mean, it's everything, but I want to make sure that you hear what I'm about to say because I've literally been on the receiving end of thousands of pitches just based on what we do. So it's not even so much what you're going to say in that first 10 seconds. It's the way that you're going to make me feel about what you're going to say. And what I'm looking for is someone with the deepest level of conviction that they believe they are uniquely qualified to solve this specific problem. It comes down to your self-confidence. And if I don't feel that transfer of energy in the first 10 seconds, you've lost my attention. But once I know that you have the energy and the conviction to execute, here's what's next. I want an extremely ambitious vision, a disruptive vision with a practical path to realize that vision. And this is why that prototyping step matters, because your ambitious vision should never be suppressed. The data that you collect from the prototyping exercise is the practical path to actualize the vision. And the more practical that you can help an investor see what you're committed to doing, and as disruptive as it will be, and the fact that you have the right energy and conviction, you dramatically increase the likelihood of getting a yes.
Absolutely. I couldn't concur more. I call it executive presence. If you don't walk in confidently, I'm watching. I watch before they even get on stage. How do you walk onto the stage in a pitch event, for example? I'm watching that. If you don't have that executive presence, if you're not carrying yourself with confidence and speaking with confidence and projecting with confidence, like I don't even listen to the rest, because what I've learned in my investment journey is if the entrepreneur who is leading the ship operationally doesn't have the ability to inspire others with a vision backed by the plan and everything that you shared, then how are they going to lead this forward? And I'm immediately thinking, well, this is something, if it's IP, for example, this person can't lead this company. If it's awesome IP, I might still give it a shot, but it would have to have someone else at the helm, because if you lack that and you can't exude that, I agree, like you've lost me completely. And that's what's required in business. We need somebody who's a strong leader and able to articulate clearly the vision and articulate the plan clearly and get buy-in from their teams and from everyone else involved. Are they doing that? And so thank you for that. We do have to take a brief break. We will be right back after these messages.
Hi, folks. Robert Quigley here, America's Independent, Washington, D.C. We're on the road to the White House. Tyrannies of the extreme must end. Americans firmly believe that the needs of the many must outweigh the needs of the few. What folks do in their bedrooms and the lifestyles they choose are protected legal rights. However, the other 99.9999% of Americans have a legal right to be free from those choices. Adolescence is tough, but it is a crime to interfere with the normal and usual course of nature, childhood development. Schools must operate within the parents' reasonable expectations. Most left-leaning folks are moderates. They want the government to have the backs of all Americans. Go to robertquigleyforpresident.com, find the donor box button. Team America needs your dollars. Together, we will make it work for all of us.
Paid for and approved by the Robert Quigley for President campaign. Taking a trip in the next 12 months? Airlines are under tremendous pressure and they're practically giving away their unsold seats. Like every crisis, this one will end too. But right now is the best time to take advantage of giveaway ticket prices on their unsold seats. We're not allowed to publish these low fares online. The only way to get these rock bottom giveaway prices is to call. So phone low-cost airlines now for airline ticket prices you may never see again.
Welcome back to Power CEOs, the truth behind the business. If you're just tuning in, you're going to want to go to nowmedia.tv, go to shows, click down on Power CEOs and watch the first half. Why? Because I have Jared Yellen here, and we are talking about how do I start up a business? How do I get from the idea on the napkin to practical startup? And we're using tech as an example, but every business starts in the same way. How do we get that proof of concept, that initial proof of concept? How do we find our addressable market and whether people are going to actually pull out the credit card and buy the solution that we are working with our blood, sweat, and tears to create for them? So we started there, and we've talked about how do we pitch to investors? What's the most important thing? And we left off before the break on executive presence, on that self-confidence and that initial delivery, how important it is that your presentation from the get-go, the nonverbal part, is way more important even than what comes out of your mouth in order for investors to sit up and listen. And so I want to dive right back into that with you today, Jared. And so let's take it to the next step, right? We're both investors, we're both entrepreneurs. We've talked about how to get to that point where we're in front of the investors and that executive presence. But as you have moved through, you are disruptive in what you're doing. And so I really want to dive into what sets you apart, because you guys partner with companies and you partner in such a way that you want them set for success, and you have a very structured way of doing this. So share a little bit about how you're disrupting, the launch and acceleration in the tech industry.
So there's too much variability in early stage anything. There's too many decisions that you have to make. We actually did a research study recently, and what we learned was the average entrepreneur has to make 372 critical decisions on their journey to an exit. They make over 10,000 decisions, but 372 critical. And those critical decision means make or break, which means if you make the wrong decision, it might put an end to your dream. So what we've done is we've built, we've tested, and we refined a business operating system that eliminates decision-making. And we either co-found SaaS companies, software as a service, with extraordinary and relevant entrepreneurs that have really strong ideas, or we buy software companies from engineers that are looking to create liquidity for themselves. And then we take the responsibility to build, scale, and exit these companies. Everything from product and engineering to business development and strategy, press and branding, and then all of the back office. We eliminate variability. Every company is on a journey. It's a predictable path. We know where they are at all times. And you know what we eliminate, Jen? We eliminate the ambiguous aspect of early stage. Because how many entrepreneurs wake up every day and they're taking massive action 100 miles per hour in the wrong direction and they don't even know it? Whereas our companies, they're on a path. It's predictable. It's known. They know where they are. They know if they're not succeeding because the data is present. So it allows us to pivot before, unfortunately, we have to pull the plug on it. The disruption that we're causing is called capital efficient SaaS. Singles and doubles are the new unicorn. We're giving more people the opportunity to realize their tech dream because now they have a partner with the human infrastructure to support them from idea to exit.
And honestly, one of the biggest challenges in entrepreneurship across every industry, and I know you're in tech specifically, but across all industries, is they don't have the right support network. So many times entrepreneurship, people get into it, and you're absolutely right. They're moving a mile a second in the wrong direction, and all of a sudden they've got a major course correct. It's because they don't have the right support network. They feel like they're operating in a vacuum, and society has kind of created that, especially those who are coming out of a corporate structure. You're not supposed to talk about things. If you're challenged, you're not supposed to talk about the challenges. Everybody needs to be the expert. And so how have you shifted the psychology of entrepreneurs who come to partner with you, because they have to want to reach out for that support and be open to that support? So how is it that you pick your business partners? Is there like a process before they even get to come in and pitch you? Like, what is it like? What did that look like for you, determining who are the right entrepreneurs who are going to be receptive to something like this? Like, talk to me a little bit about that, because the psychology of it is tremendously important.
Yeah, so we have a really extensive process. Over the past almost 3 years, we've had a little over 2,000 entrepreneurs and engineers from around the world come through this process. So it's really allowed us to refine it quite a bit. There's 4 major things that we're looking for: right person, right idea, right market, right business model. There's a ton of nuance. There's an enormous amount of testing, but when that is present, we'll either co-found or we'll buy that business. Now, the key to that equation, though, is really the right person, because we absolutely can and most likely will change the idea as we collect more data. It's really easy to change the market that you're pursuing, and the business model is something that you should be testing regardless. So the person, that person component, is something that we can't change. They are who they are. And if they don't have certain characteristics, unfortunately, we don't even entertain the idea of the market or the business model. So some of those characteristics are, we look for people that take 100% responsibility for their outcomes. So we actually test and assess this. We want to make sure that you're someone that recognizes that every time you point a finger to blame anybody else, there's 3 fingers pointing back right at you. Mm-hmm. So you're the type of person that will take 100%, not 99%, not 72%, but 100% of the responsibility to produce a specific outcome. We also look for co-founders that have the ability to sell their vision, because if you cannot mobilize people to a yes, you really don't have a role within our world. That's what we're looking for within a co-founder. Somebody that can absolutely sell their vision. They can do what we call tangibilize something, which is not even a real word. That's what we call it. They tangibilize their vision. They make their vision something that we can see and touch and maneuver. We look for people that show up with that deepest level of conviction. We call it the entrepreneurial swagger. Like, they just know they're onto something. They know they're uniquely qualified. So there's a whole variety of characteristics that we're looking for, but the person matters more than anything else. We've had countless times, Jen, where the right person showed up with the wrong idea in the wrong market and the wrong business model. And we told them, what you presented isn't viable, but you're a rock star. So we actually have somebody else that pitched us an idea who is absolutely wrong. And we love to show you that idea to see if you want to pursue that one with us. The right person for us is everything. We'd rather have no co-founder than the wrong co-founder.
You know, and that's so incredibly important. And I just want to speak to it from both sides of it. If you're in business and you're looking to partner with another business partner, you have to be equally yoked. You have to be definitely know whose roles are what, and you have to be moving together in the same direction powerfully. So if you're yoked to the wrong person in a business, and you're going and you're driving and they're not, then it's holding you back. And so that's one of the things we talk about in the show a lot, is how to find the right partner, the right people on your team, the right people on the bus, and the right seats in the bus. But when we're talking about the money side, you know, I don't feel my money is protected if I don't have the right person. And I have left huge deals with lots of monetization opportunity, huge upside on the table, because it's not worth it because the person wasn't a right fit. So I love that you put the person first. It is so incredibly important. And so talk to our viewers, what can they look at in themselves? What questions can they be asking themselves to assess? Because some people think that they take 100% responsibility, but everybody else sees differently. So what are some things, some basic things that listeners to the show, viewers of the show today can ask themselves in self-reflection? Am I the right person to partner with money? Am I the right person to actually take my idea, my business to the next level? What can they be thinking about in their own that they can take action on right now today, so that they know, hey, am I going to take it the distance? Am I going to be successful in what I'm trying to achieve?
So there's 2 things that I've done in my life that have allowed me to be the right person to accept capital. So one of them is I did door-to-door sales. And if you haven't done that and you feel like you're at an age that you can't do that, I just encourage you to do something that teaches you skills in a very practical way, where you're literally selling something. So do some commission-only sales opportunity so that you can actually experience what it means to take somebody from just meeting them to a yes. It's critical that you refine your sales skills. The second thing that I've done is an enormous amount of personal development. I am extremely introspective with myself. I question everything. I want to get to the source of what holds me back, limiting beliefs, so that none of those things are present. So commit to personal development and commit to sharpening your sales sword. You need to be able to sell your vision. It is absolutely essential and critical. Anyone that tells you the product will sell itself doesn't understand what it takes to actually scale a business. You have to be able to transfer your certainty around your solution to somebody else who then gets as certain as you so they make a buying decision. And that is called sales. Personal development and sales skills are absolutely essential for you as you step into becoming a founder of a startup company.
And boom, that's a mic drop right there. So if we were to look at ourselves and say, okay, where do we start with sales? Do you have a resource or a go-to that you're like, this is the best ABC? It's the little red book, or what is your go-to sales resource? Like when you have those entrepreneurs who maybe need to brush up on that, what do you give them?
So I was like so anti-sales training for literally ever until recently, because I learned it by doing it. I did a door-to-door sales job when I was 19 years old in Manhattan and Brooklyn, selling credit card processing. It was the single most difficult thing of my entire life. Every business owner that I walked into knew that I was there to sell them something. And my territory was Coney Island, which is really not a very safe place right outside of Manhattan. But of late, I got to know Grant Cardone pretty well. He invested actually in our company. And as I got to know him, I also got to understand his work. And he is so effective at simplifying sales. There's a lot of sales trainers out there, and I find they make it overly complicated, I think almost so that you feel like you always need them, whereas Grant's taken a whole different approach. He simplifies it. He makes it something that even his young children, his daughters, are able to do, where they're on sales calls and they're selling the different programs he has to offer, or tickets to these events. So I was so anti-actual like formal sales training until I actually saw what Grant was doing. So if you have no sales training, I really encourage you to reach out to Grant Cardone's team, because it's really second to none how they've been able to simplify something that so many people are afraid and averse to.
Yeah, you know, I was anti-sales myself. I come from medicine, and in medicine, you're always selling, but you're selling as the practitioner, and they need what you're selling. Hey, oh, you blow your ACL. This is the treatment plan. This is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to get you back to the field so that you can be, playing on NFL Sunday. So, like you're always doing it. And I was the same as you when I shifted focus and I came out of medicine. And I was able to do great on the conversions because I only do what I believe in. But when you want to scale a business, it requires so much more. And so I concur with you. Sales training is incredible. And the important thing with sales training that I found is you have to be able to have someone give you direct feedback. And so many people will do read a book and think that they've got it. But if you don't have direct feedback, either in an accountability partner, a coach, or a trainer in your sales program, that really is critical, because they're going to give you that objective opinion, that objective look and perspective, so that you can actually shift the micro behaviors that are inhibiting your sales. So thank you for that. I really appreciate that. We do have to take a brief break. We will be right back after these messages.
Are you nearly maxed out on your credit cards? It doesn't matter if you're using your credit cards for fun or to survive. At the end of the month, your statements come in, and you can either pay them or you can't. If you can't, late fees and interest rates get tacked on. And now you're struggling just to make the minimum payment due. Do you feel trapped? Am I talking to you? Good, because I personally researched some companies that can help you. They may be able to reduce your credit card balances by 50% and stop the late fees. If you qualify, please call our special debt hotline number right now for a complimentary free 5-minute consultation. Deal with your credit card problem now before it gets much worse and put more money back in your pocket. Trust me, I've been there too. Call right now.
Call 855-993-2096 right now. That's 855-993-2096.
What if this happened to you when you're alone? Or what if it happened here? With MedGuard Alert, you're never alone. You can connect with medical professionals anywhere, anytime. And now MedGuard is introducing our exclusive new Care Watch. If you need help quickly, use it from anywhere to contact medical professionals. No cell phone required. The Care Watch is not only a life-saving medical alert device, it's a revolutionary health monitoring system that checks your blood pressure, heart rate, oxygen saturation, maturation, and much more. And here's the best part. If you have Medicaid, you may qualify to get your Care Watch for free. The Care Watch is only available through MedGuard Alert. Call us right now. We have monitoring programs starting as low as $1 a day. The call is free, activation is free, shipping is free, and no contract is required. Remember, with Medicaid, you may qualify to get your Care Watch for free. Don't wait. Call us to get your Care Watch right now. Operators are standing by.
Hi, my name is Michelle Merhar. You may remember me from the morning news. I'd like to tell you how getting data and documents into action fast gives you a competitive edge. Digital-first thinking to manage document workflows efficiently are giving all organizations a competitive edge. In fact, digital document automation is an essential process, helping us to become more profitable and to compete. By making any process paperless with secure automation, decisions can be made efficiently, virtually from anywhere. You'll be able to find and share documents securely in seconds. Your staff will be empowered by making optimal use of every office hour. And by the way, the size of your organization doesn't matter. Precision Products has been helping organizations for more than 30 years with paper to digital processes, including scanning systems for any document to premises and cloud document management systems. We make it easy and scalable for your business process needs from the office or other locations, even mobile devices. Contact us to see how we can help your organization succeed. Contact Will Waterall direct at 713-446-5939 and visit us on the web at precisionproductsinc.com.
Attention timeshare owners. This is an urgent consumer alert from the Timeshare Exit Hotline, a national company specializing in helping consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
Do you have a car sitting around you want to get rid of? Well, here's a great idea. Donate your car now to help local veterans in your area. Yes, just make one fast call to the Veteran Car Donation Program. Within a few days, we'll come and remove your car for free. You can donate any car in any condition. We'll use our vast network to sell it. The proceeds raised go to help local veterans and their families. And you get a tax deduction. And all you need to do is make this free call. Clean your yard up, get rid of an old car, and help the vets. We make it easy. Make this free call now. Book your fast and easy pickup. Call the Veteran Car Donation Program now.
Welcome back to Power CEO's The Truth Behind the Business. We're going to dive right back in because this conversation has been so important. Already you've got action steps. You know I'm a coach at heart, and if you're not taking action, then we don't get anywhere. And just before the break, Jared said, you need to work on your sales. If you up-level your sales, it's going to help you grow your business. That was one of the key action steps that we talked about amongst many others. But Jared, I want to shift the gears just a little bit. Because we've talked about startup, we've talked about how to find capital to grow our business and what it takes to grow our business. We've talked about sharpening our sales acumen. I want to talk now about my entrepreneurs out there who maybe they've just had an exit and they have a lump sum coming, or they're in that process, or maybe they're generating a few $1 million in profits, and they need to consider diversification. So they're looking at, what do I do with this money so that I can put my money to work for me? How do people who are entrepreneurs at heart, who have not really moved into that, I'm great at making income, but I haven't really generated wealth. How do they know where to put their money, how to spot a good deal, what to look for, and how can they take their entrepreneurial skill set to make them excellent investors?
So it's interesting because what has allowed you to be so successful as an entrepreneur is the same thing that's going to enable you to be a really strong investor, which is extreme discipline. So it's critical that you have discipline, and you should meet with any financial service provider that you're working with. But what's critical, and this is actually what we do with our portfolio companies, is you need to define allocations and never negotiate against the allocation. So if you're allocating 15% of your portfolio to multifamily real estate and 15% of your portfolio to early stage tech, you need to ensure at all times that 15% of your net worth is allocated into that specific domain. And it's a discipline to do it, no different than the discipline that you took to get to the point of having this capital in the first place. The other thing that I encourage all investors to do is that if you can be a strategic investor in an opportunity, just go in on it. And the way I do it is whenever I invest in an early stage company, I want to ensure that I will be able to bring 4 times the amount of top line revenue to that business compared to the investment I'm making. So if I'm investing $250,000 into a business, I want to know through my relationship capital, my ecosystem, my sphere of influence, that I can influence at least $1 million of top line revenue in order for me to write the $250,000 check, because that's my safeguard. That's my hedge against the downside, is I'm going to make a few introductions that go a very long way to increase the valuation and increase the certainty of that actual business.
I think that's tremendous advice. And, something that we always talk about is when you first break into investing, you tend to invest in what you know. However, talk a little bit about if you were a tech entrepreneur and you invest 100% in tech, is there a risk to being 100% in the tech industry from an investment and an entrepreneurial standpoint? And what are some of the things that you should consider outside of there? Because that's what we tend to see, right? We tend to see, I'm really good at this. Here's something that I really, really, really know, so I'm going to put my money there. But now what if something happens in the economy with tech? Like we just went through this. We literally just saw the tech industry mature.
Yes.
It had not done that. And the only thing that's saving it now is AI and the novelty of technology. But we now have a mature tech industry. So if I'm only a tech entrepreneur and I'm only invested in tech, and and tech's dropping and valuations are dropping, then I don't have the same security as if I've been diversified. So talk a little bit about how do we get into the next level? How do we use our skill sets and transfer them into our investment strategy?
So if you're investing in tech, you might need a 10 to 12 year horizon on those investments. Those are just longer term investment opportunities. And it's great that you allocate a portion and maybe even a large portion of your investable assets into tech if that's what you know. Then you want to make sure you're also doing the other extreme, which would be like multifamily real estate, which is a great asset class to have. It's stable, it's certain, and it's going to offer you something that traditionally tech doesn't, which is cash flow. And the whole goal to really building wealth is that you can live, like your quality of life is offset by the passive income from cash flow from things like multifamily real estate. So as an example, if you have $10 million invested into multifamily real estate and you're getting 10% distributions over the course of the year, which would be really high, but to use that as the math, you're getting $1 million to live off of that year. And that's just what you live off of. And if you can start living within the means of what passive income you can earn from your cash flowing investments, and then you have your home run investments into tech that have a 10 to 12 year horizon, you've set yourself and your family up really well. Outside of that, there's all different things you can do with life insurance policies and things like that that are great investment vehicles that would take a lot more time to dig into. I encourage you to find a financial service provider that you can really trust, that has a vision beyond what they're told to sell you, so they can actually make really good investment decisions for you, so that you can really lay a foundation and not have to worry about money. Because that's the quickest way to lose freedom, is to stress about your bank account. So if that bank account is just solid, you have cash flow coming in from your investments, that's what you're living off of, you have some of the longer term plays in tech, you're really in a good position.
Yeah, I really like that perspective, and I love that you hit the short term, the midterm, and the long term, truthfully. And you talked about cash flow versus what are you realizing on the long term side of your asset allocation. So I absolutely concur. Get your advisor. Get the people who know more than you. If people are looking and they're like, you know what, I'm not really investing in tech, I want to start. I know that you have an excellent framework for that. Like, speak to those people. Like, what should they be thinking about and listening to? We are drawing to the close, so I want you to also share with them, how can they reach out to you if they have questions about investing in tech or if they're a startup in tech?
So here's the quick rule, and there's a lot of other things you should look at as well. If you would use it, you might as well own it. So just let that be your rule when you're investing in tech. If you would be someone that would pay the monthly fee for that solution, you might as well own that solution. And that's just a good baseline with regards to investing. We have a huge announcement that we're making. We have a big, bold move to become the next era of venture. And I want to invite your audience to participate in this announcement, which is coming right in the new year. If you head over to my website, jaredyellin.com, JaredYellin.com, right there, you're going to see we have a really interesting newsletter. I encourage you to sign up for it. I'm like super anti-newsletter, which is why this is not really a newsletter. We call it the guide to have it all. I'm just transparent on how I live my life with regards to my relationship with my wife and how I show up as a dad and how I show up as a leader of a relatively large organization now that has an immense amount of responsibility. I talk about some of the meetings that I'm having right now with some of the most iconic entrepreneurs and investors in history that want to participate in this really big announcement that's coming right in the new year. So if you're someone that wants to start getting involved in tech or maybe even have a tech idea, go to jaredyellin.com, sign up for our newsletter, which is your guide to have it all. It's really so much more than a newsletter, and just get in our ecosystem so that we can find various ways to work together to achieve more and to really create some positive change in the world.
Awesome. And I think that's an amazing resource. Pick that up. Make sure you reach out to Jared. He is a tremendous resource. And I wouldn't have him here. I wouldn't have him here sharing this with you if I didn't believe in what he was sharing. So, Jared, we do have just a couple more minutes, and I love to leave my audience with an action step that they can take today, right now, that is going to move them powerfully forward. And so think about when you were starting and you were that napkin. Give me an action step for the people with an idea on a napkin, and then give me an action step for the person who's looking at, hey, maybe it's time to start thinking about diversification and investing.
So if you have an idea on a napkin, I'm going to share a statement with you that I've actually shared probably like 3,000 or 4,000 times now, which is never let anyone other than you execute on your dream. And what I mean by that is I'm sure you know someone, maybe you're even the someone who says, I had the idea for Instagram before Instagram, or I had the idea for Uber before Uber, but the difference is someone other than you executed on your dream. So just never let it happen again. So the action step, Upwork, hire somebody for $500 to $5,000 to create a clickable prototype and then do 100 sales demos of your dream. Start collecting real data to justify and validate your thesis. For the investor who says, okay, I'm heavily invested in multifamily real estate. I got tons of cash flow, but I want to invest in something that creates a lot of impact in the world, that's really innovative, that's super cutting edge. What I'd encourage you to do is find something that you would pay for and be a user of, and then reach out to the organization to see if they're fundraising so that you can invest in it. There's no better thing to invest in with regards to your first investment in tech than something that you use anyway, because you're just going to become evangelical for it. You're going to talk about it. You're an ambassador. You're going to become part of the biz dev team, even though that's not what you signed up for, just because you're so passionate about it. So identify things that you're willing to pay for, and then let that be your first tech investment. And I have a feeling it'll be a gateway for you to become a pretty active investor in tech.
Fantastic action steps. Thank you so much, Jared, for spending time with us, with my audience today. I really appreciate it. Go to jaredyellin.com. Is that correct? Yeah, jaredyellin.com. Yes. Get on his newsletter. Get that information. Start the process. Today is the day you take action. He gave you perfect action steps. Today is the day, not tomorrow, not next week, because if you wait, then it's just going to become another thing that you listen to. Oh, yes, I listened to the show. I listened to the podcast, and I never did anything. Action is where the magic happens. If you have to go back and re-listen to some of this, go for it. But today is the day you take action. You start taking action to move yourself forward so that we can improve and increase that trajectory and get you towards your time, money, location, all the freedom, like Jared was talking to us about. Thank you so much for being here with us today. Unfortunately, all good things do come to an end, including this show. But the good news is we will be here the same time, same station next week. But until then, go win today, win this week, and we'll see you next time.
This has been a Now Media Networks feature presentation. All rights reserved.
Hi, folks. Robert Quigley here, America's Independent, Washington, D.C. We're on the road to the White House. Today, we're going to talk about a potential Quigley administration, the cabinet. What is it going to look like? It's got 25 members, and we're going to staff those members from the Democratic Party, the Republican Party, independents, and other third parties across America. All of our team players are going to be highly analytical, top problem solvers. They're going to be well educated, and they're going to have lived a life in the trenches. We don't want drama. We want the best possible roster that Team America can create. You know, defense and related departments and agencies, of course, are going to be recruited from within. Why? Because they need highly specialized knowledge. All are welcome to join Team America. All are welcome at our table. You know, a large percentage of the senior executive service positions we're going to convert to internships for high school seniors and college students. Join Team America. Go to robertquigleyforpresident.com. Donate what you can, and together we will make it work for all of us.
Paid for and approved by the Robert Quigley for President campaign.